soy Mr. Dry y bienvenidos al DryCast.
Más cuando acabas de cenar, empieza un podcast con el que disfrutar. No es uno más, es el mejor del lugar. Lo gobierna tardar, un sonier ejemplar. DryCast, empieza otro DryCast. Información, opinión, rumores y diversión. Entrevistas y alguna que otra discusión. DryCast, como mola DryCast. Es una pasada. Tenemos a Callejas con su sección de collejas. A Lau que te sale por cualquier lado. A Martín hablando de VR. A los haters dando por culín. Metal líquido en la oreja.
Muy buenas a todos, bienvenidos a una tarde de DryCast con Callejas, bienvenido.
¿Qué tal, Fernan? ¿Qué tal, familia? Pues sí, hoy martes de DryCast tempranito, aunque recordad que luego tenemos otro a las 9, que no se nos olvide, el que tenemos retrasado de la semana pasada, que hubo este fallo de coordinación con Jonathan, era el nombre, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Con Jonathan. Así, hoy así se hemos podido concretar con Jonathan. Yo no sé si estaré, no sé, aún no lo puedo confirmar. Si puedo, estoy aquí. Y nada, hoy tenemos el acto 1 del desarrollo de lo que sería Herejía de Destiny, en el que, bueno, así por adelantado ya os puedo decir que lo que sí vamos a ver. Vamos a ver seguramente la mazmorra nueva, que ahora mismo no recuerdo el nombre, pero sí ya os puedo confirmar que va a haber eventos, por así decirlo, de la mazmorra. Ya sabéis lo que siempre se hace con la comunidad y creadores de contenido y tal. Y también os puedo decir que casi con toda seguridad en el vídeo de hoy, pues veremos, no creo cómo va a llegar, pero sí veremos que llega a el acorazado de Oryx, aquel acorazado de Destiny 1 del DLC, pues llega también a Destiny 2. No sé de qué forma, tengo mucho interés por el tema de que no sé si va a ser planeta como tal o va a ser como con muchos otros juegos que ha pasado. Por ejemplo, cuando volvió Marte, por así decirlo, que pensábamos que iba a estar Marte como planeta, no. Y a una actividad que tú hacías y salías en una zona limitada de Marte. Así que vamos a ver. Por cierto, mira, mientras que está aquí Beto aquí preguntando, sí, este año no sale el MLB de Show en Game Pass. ¿Qué opinas, Fernán?
Bueno, pues me imagino que esto es que ha acabado el acuerdo que tenía la MLB con Xbox para llevar el juego a Game Pass y ya está, no hay más, no hay nada más allá.
Vale. Quiero también recordar, chicos, que tenemos un sorteo muy guapo en colaboración con Frank, con YoleocomicsDC. Los que estáis en el... Si no nos seguís por la cuenta de Twitter del DryCast, ya tardáis, DryCast-oficial. Estamos sorteando una key de un Ninja Gaiden 2 Black para PS5. Que yo creo que es, si no hemos sido los primeros en sortearlo, seremos de los primeros. Porque realmente esas key en un principio sería para el tema de prensa y tal. Pero bueno, tenemos nuestros contactos y hemos conseguido sacar una parte de la que ya tenemos. Y hemos dicho, pues, qué mejor que sortearla con la comunidad. Tan fácil como seguir a Frank, YoleoComics, seguirnos a nosotros, darle un retweet, favorito y ya estáis dentro del sorteo. Que el sorteo creo que ha puesto Frank, que es, no sé si es a principios de febrero o el 2 o el 3 de febrero. Es un juego muy, 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 muy guapo, ya lo digo, que lo diga yo ya tiene su mérito. Y bueno, también...
Se va a comprar día 1 el 4, se lo va a comprar día 1...
no te me venga arriba, no, pero, a ver, te digo, no te me venga arriba, pero no porque no lo vaya a comprar, sino porque este año vienen juegos muy guapos. Y hay juegos que tienen, preferencia antes que Ninja Gaiden 4. También vamos a decir que hemos hablado.
Yo tengo unas ganas.
Es que Yotei, yo qué sé. Y el de Assassin's Creed Shadow también le tengo ahí ganita. Lo que iba a decir que ha habido un poco de revuelo hace un momento por el grupo de WhatsApp, porque Fernan ha pasado un juego de 404 que se llama Flight Simulator VR y por un momento había ahí un revuelo de gallinas que iba a explotar cara en cualquier momento, hasta que han visto que no es el Microsoft Flight Simulator, pero ojo, tampoco no digamos muy alto que bueno, que igual más tarde que temprano lo tenemos también en Microsoft Flight Simulator, junto con algún Forza y algún Starfield por ahí, o cualquier cosilla que puede pasar por los bajines. Más cositas, Fernan. Este último podcast que hicimos, último DryCast del domingo pasado, dejaste la puerta abierta. Yo te lo puse luego el lunes por Twitter. Te puse que si este jueves comíamos sopa. Entonces, no se puede confirmar nada, chicos. Cogerlo con pinzas. Habrá que estar atentos.
Más no.
Exactamente. Pero cabe la posibilidad, pequeña posibilidad, vamos a decirlo así, de que este jueves igual haya el State of Play. Por eso digo que mañana, porque yo le pregunté a Fernan, le digo, bueno, Fernan, los últimos State of Play, ¿cuándo se han anunciado? ¿Un día antes, 2 días antes, una semana antes? Y lo que me dijo Fernan, normalmente, últimamente es el día antes. O sea que igual mañana, pues, nos anuncian algo de que tenemos algo para el jueves. Y si no, recordad que veníamos diciendo que teníamos casi la certeza de que sería el 4 de febrero. Por el tema de que lo que se filtró de Marathon de los archivos, ¿no? Que se abrían las reservas el día 4 de febrero. Igual, pues, se hace algún evento. Esta gente está aquí ya, por todo esto, Fernan. Mira, Maxi. Entonces estoy esperando un mes, ya tuvimos una semana más. Si es que la tiramos y es lo que tiene. Vale, voy a compartir este, Fernan. Screen, pestaña de Chrome.
Screen, please. Screen.
Vale. Dime si se escucha la música, ¿vale? Imagino que nos escuchan, ¿no?
No.
Vale. Eso es porque la tengo abierta con otro usuario. Espérate un segundito. Si yo ahora me vengo aquí. Y ahora aquí. Por aquí. La abro. YouTube, tal. Destiny the Game. Bien. ¿Y por qué no me sale? Porque vale, porque lo he puesto separado y el canal es todo junto. Venga, atrás. Aquí estamos. Aquí. A ver, la música, ¿la escucho yo?
A ver. No.
Ostras, no, estoy pensando.
Comparte pestaña en vez de ventana.
No, pero es que. Vale, no, era la música, pero. Es que también dijimos que iba a ser en el canal de PlayStation y están en el canal de Destiny.
Sí.
Están en los dos lados. Ya abrí otra pantalla de YouTube.
Comparte pestaña porque si no, no se va a escuchar.
Es que quiero ver primeramente. Míralo, también están. Pues pongo el canal de PlayStation directamente. Ahora sí. Lo pongo, musiquita, y ahora comparto. Aquí. Deja de compartir. Compartir esto aquí. Ahora sí se escucha.
Ahora sí.
Exactamente.
Así.
Perfecto.
Ahí. Qué bonito. Tengo ganas del Herejía.
Vamos a ver. Ya te digo que lo del acorazado me llama mucho la atención, porque visualmente el acorazado en el Destiny 1 está guapísimo. Está muy guapo. Mira, aquí tenemos al señor Braster.
Hombre, ese Braster como
aquí lo tenemos. Sí, es que Braster quiere así. Braster quiere ver un poquito de lo que va a ir este capítulo. Por razones más que obvias, pues.
Chicos, si os gusta el tema de la conducción,
Y GTA. Y juegos variados. Ay, no sé si también, pues, no sé si mostrarán algo del tema de armas, quizás también. Bueno, sí, seguro que mostrarán lo que digo, la mazmorra. Y con el arma excepcional que dan en la mazmorra, que no me acuerdo ahora mismo cuál es. Pero bueno, tampoco. Bueno.
Muy bueno.
Hombre, esta visita sí es verdad que no me la esperaba.
No sé, ni yo.
Muy buena, Martín.
¿Qué tal?
Pues mira, aquí charlando un poquito a ver qué nos
Muy
trae
bien.
la gente de PlayStation Destiny.
Voy a comentar un momento mientras el directo tuyo, ¿sabes? Me refiero a lo que
Claro.
estás compartiendo hasta que empiece, básicamente para que no se nos solape el sonido.
Perfecto, perfectísimo.
Ahí tenemos
Y yo,
a
pues,
Martín, amigos.
¿Qué tal la vida de casado, Martín?
Bueno.
Ahora tienes que decir como aquí hasta la polla ya.
No, claro, ¿no? Pues no ha cambiado nada, ya llevábamos muchos años juntos. La verdad es que no tengo
Eso es verdad, eso ya es más.
preparado para este momento. Bien, todo perfecto. De momento,
Bien.
momento feliz.
Muy bien, hombre.
Es mi
Ha
pueblo.
habido revuelo, ¿verdad, Martín, con lo del juego este de el Flight Simulator VR?
Mira, de verdad, esto no se la perdono a Fernando en la vida. No se la perdono, porque claro, ¿y qué cutre queda en la historia del Flight Simulator 2025? A mí me coló VR, yo, ostras.
Y mira que lo puse de 404 Games.
No, pero no, 404 Games. En vez de.
Sí, 404.
Claro, ¿eso qué es?
Son los que llevaron Death Stranding a PC.
¿Cómo que Death Stranding a PC? ¿Fueron los que lo portaron?
Son los que llevaron la distribución de Death Stranding 1 a PC.
Ah, ¿no había un estudio que era 505 Games en algún momento dado de Xbox?
Sí, me quiere sonar.
Que les copian todo, el nombre del juego y les quitan un numerito al... Bueno, yo flipo. 505, 404, bueno.
Ah, no, mira, 505 Games es precisamente los que... Eso. Esos son los que llevaron 505 Games.
Bueno, entonces 404 son otros.
Ha sido, sí, tío. Ha sido un chat.
Decepción tras decepción.
De los chinos, ¿sabes? Yo, de verdad que chasco me he llevado, pero bueno. No sé si es bueno o malo. A lo mejor es una maravilla, no lo sé, pero...
Pues mira, estaba viendo, Martín, que digo, por si... No sé si me animo, llegado el momento, el mando, el True Master para Play de avión vale 80 euros.
¿Cuál? ¿El que es un joystick para simuladores?
Sí, pero viene junto lo que sería el gas y dirección, pero se pueden separar. Se pueden poner en dos partes.
Había para PSVR J, había varios modelos así para compatibles, un par de ellos, uno bueno y otro más baratito, y incluso para PC. Es decir, para PC. Porque las PSVR no era oficial, pero las podías enchufar a PC. Mucha gente las usó en Steam. De hecho, estaba en la mitad de la tabla de los visores más usados en Steam. Aunque era un poquito complicado los Move, pero bueno, quitando los Move, al final se jugaba. Y había un par de joysticks para el EVE Valkyrie y alguno más que se podía jugar. No recuerdo bien.
Pues si veo que el juego tiene, yo te digo, si se ve medianamente aceptable, pues con la VR, yo lo digo, la gente, a ver, que ya entra dentro del gusto de cada uno, ¿no? Pero todos aquellos que no hayáis visto nunca funcionar la PSVR 2, es que si ya solo con el mero hecho de calibrarla ya lo flipas lo que te hace. Que sí, que luego las que tenemos en PC, las Quest y todo lo que queráis están muy bien, que son muy buenas gafas.
Sí.
Pero lo de Play, y como dije la semana pasada.
Si te gusta cacharrar con aplicaciones XR y tal, ahora mismo en PC tienes bastante más, con Quest y tal. Pero luego para juegos al final, hombre, el catálogo de Steam es mucho más grande con los mods. Si tienes ganas de ponerte a instalar cositas, mods y tal, tienes mucho donde elegir en PC. Pero al final, por experiencia y por lo que a mí me cuentan, da pereza. O sea, al final no es la facilidad que tiene el Aro, que es informático, ¿sabes? Es friki de eso, le gusta.
Claro.
Claro, y él lo hace rápido, fácil, y aunque tarde, le da igual, lo disfruta. Para él no le cuesta. Pero para el común de los mortales, ponerse a jugar en un PC, lo que menos le apetece es enchufar, que no le vayan los drivers, tengan que actualizarlo, que luego el Steviwonder lo tenga que instalar por otro lado.
Martín, yo tengo un mutual de Twitter que es informático. Trabajó en Take-Two España es muy fan de Xbox y ha dicho que la próxima consola suya es Nintendo Switch o PlayStation, pero que no quiere irse al PC ni de coña después de estar todo el día 8, 9, 10 horas trabajando y no quiere tocar un PC ni con un palo.
Claro. Bueno, las 7 en punto, ojito, que esto puede empezar en breve.
Me pasó a mí en su momento y estás con el ordenador trabajando y no te apetece. A Todd Howard lo dijo en una entrevista, que él llegaba a casa y ponía la consola. No jugaba con PC. El señor Todd Howard, CEO de...
Vale, empieza esto.
Hello everyone and welcome. It's good to see y'all again, Guardians. Welcome here to Bungie HQ, broadcasting live from beautiful Bellevue, Washington. Today with our stream that's going to be talking through some of the awesome stuff you're going to be able to check out just next week when Act 1 of episode Heresy launches on February 4th. Now, worry not, you're not going to
guapo el busto de Kaide que tiene detrás el
the social media team here at Bungie, but I've got some amazing colleagues here to go ahead and share some of the finer details of all the cool stuff we're going to be checking out today. So, to not waste any time and show y'all what you came here to see, let's go ahead and introduce everyone so we can get to it. First things first, this gentleman to my left, a brand new addition to our show. If you've joined us before, you may recognize his face, or not recognize his face, rather. The one and only Mr. Sorry.
Que pinta de granjeros tienen, ¿no?
Nico, how's it going, man? I'm doing great. How are you doing, Andy? Doing well, thank you. Obviously, your first time joining us. For anyone that may not have followed you on social media or maybe wondering what it is a narrative architect does, can you tell us just a little bit about who you are and what you do here?
Sure. So I joined Bungie. I joined Bungie back in Season of Undying, like right at the tail end of that, and I've been working on seasonal content from then up until now and doing the episode stuff.
Yeah.
And I've done a few annual releases here and there, did some Final Shape stuff. People might know my work from Presage or Warlord's Ruin or some of those.
Prestige is like my favorite exotic mission of all time. Not even kidding.
I'm a little biased, but I do love it.
So good. All right, we can talk about that at another time. But thank you for being here, Nico. We appreciate it. Next to him, someone who's joined us in the past. Actually, if you joined us for our episode Echoes stream, you probably recognize his face immediately. The one and only Ryan Harris, senior designer here at Bungie. Ryan, welcome back.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well, man. Thank you very much. For anyone that maybe didn't join us on the last Echo stream or is just seeing you for the first time, can you tell us just a little bit about who you are and what you do here?
For sure, yeah. So I'm a senior activity designer here at Bungie. I've been around since Season of the Plunder. Folks may know my content that I've worked on from most recently
el arquitecto de historia, este es diseño.
From Echoes, and then before that, Savathûn Spire, and then the Defiant Battlegrounds.
Yeah, another one today to add to the best hits, obviously.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, thank you for being here, Ryan. We appreciate it. And last but very not least, someone who needs no introduction, a friend to all Guardian kind, a voice of all of you fine folks out in chat, here in the studio, the Youngblood Dillionaire himself, Dylan Gaffner. Dylan, thanks for being here, man.
Thank you. How are you doing, Andy? Question number 3.
Doing so well, thank you! Exclamation point! Period. To that same end, you are the global community lead here. Can you tell the folks at home that may not have accosted you on Blue Sky or anything like that, just a little bit about who you are and what it is you do here?
Yeah, I mean, we're listening. I'm that guy. Bread, #meme. But ultimately, yeah, we on the community team, we make sure to field all your feedback, get our roadmap of comms together for what's in a TWID, how can we set expectations, what's all the cool stuff going on in Destiny in the game or outside of it too.
Yeah.
Speaking of outside of it, I want to do a quick shout out to Mactix. We have a Game to Give charity marathon going on right now. Actually, his time slot coincides with ours. So throughout this, we're going to be dropping links in chat to his charity page.
Awesome.
So if you want to support a good cause, help out the Bungie Foundation and all the people in need, yeah, hit up that link, check out the incentives, and donate some money if you can. If you can't, totally fine.
Yep.
Spread the word.
And hey, do yourself a huge favor while you're out there. Give Mactix a follow. Steal some of his builds. I know I do. I mentioned it last stream. All right, so that is enough about us. Let's talk about the cool things that you guys have been building. Obviously, we're about to go ahead and arrive at
No, Patricio, no tiene subtítulos. Ahora hemos mirado y parece ser
Nico,
que
I'd
no.
love to ask you really quickly, what got us to where we are today? Obviously, we're concluding episode Revenant, but a lot has occurred. Can you catch anyone up at home about what happened last time?
Yeah, so the story of the Echoes, which the episodes encompass, has kind of
Habla de la
was kicked
historia de los
off
Echoes.
from the Final
Vamos a
Shape. So at the end of the Final Shape, we kill the Witness.
Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers, sorry.
Andamos a la oscuridad, muy bien.
So we take out the Witness, and from the Witness and from the Pale Heart, we see all of these Echoes like burst out and start flying across Sol.
Yeah.
The first one that we encountered was in the hands of Maya Sundaresh. We dealt with her, she escaped. Second one we encountered was in the hands of Fikrul. We dealt with him, he did not escape. And then the third one that we are encountering is going to be here in the Dreadnought. And after it left the Pale Heart, a very specific dread that we're going to be seeing this episode gave chase to it. So we're going to be dealing with the Dread and the Taken and the Hive all revolving around this third echo.
Excellent, very exciting. All right, so we have up on screen here in just a moment, I think, the key art now for this next episode. There's a lot going on here, but Nico, I'll leave it to you. Can you tell us just a little bit about what we're seeing here?
Yeah. So I think the first thing that's probably going to draw a lot of people's eye is that ghostly visage of Oryx peeking over the top there. So Oryx is... I'll just say Oryx is back to some capacity, right?
And
the Echo has a lot to do with that. So not only are the Guardians jumping through trying to figure out what exactly is going on in this first act, but they're dealing with this old foe that has been dredged up from the bones of the Dreadnought. And I don't want to reveal too much. But we're going to be clashing.
The Guardians will be there very soon. But so we're dealing obviously again with the Taken King again in some form. So we have some old foes returning. But before we go ahead and move on into gameplay and dive into that, we have some old allies returning as well. Can you tell us about some of the folks we're going to be working with this time around as well?
Yeah. So our main cast right now is Eris Morn, which is our resident witch Hive expert. A lot of people know her from Season of the Witch, aptly named, or even further back, Season of Arrivals is kind of like the first time that she jumped back into this new sort of saga story arc. So we have Eris Morn. She is, as I said, our resident Hive expert. We have the Drifter, her faithful companion, who's following alongside and helping us kind of pick apart what the Taken are doing here.
Le van a dar más protagonismo a Eri y
finger in the weird of the universe. There's some weird going on here.
Excellent.
And then finally, we have Deputy Commander Sloan. And Sloan is our Titan representation here. People will remember her from Season of the Deep or even the Red War. And she has been afflicted with this Taken corruption that we saw back in Season of the Deep. And she's learned how to sort of hold it back, but also utilize it to make her stronger. So she is going to be teaching us some of that.
That's we're going beyond once again. So it's safe to say. So we've obviously got a whole new cast of friends and enemies to go up against. But really quickly as well, something we were talking about a little bit earlier in the show is the player journey as well. It's something you guys are really excited about this time around. Can you tell us a little bit about how players are going to be experiencing some of these quests?
So. So players have been talking a lot about the structure of the player journey and how they kind of like to see it shaken up a bit, right? So this is going to be kind of one of our first steps into trying to make that happen in a more tangible way. So you will still notice some of those elements of like returning to a vendor or something like that, but you're also going to notice that we're doing a lot more bespoke, spread out delivery for these beats. You're going to find characters like in the midst of a mission sometimes. There's some new tech that I don't want to spoil. I want players to see it in the game. But there's some new tech having to do with the way that we would holo project characters in that sort of projection unit that you would find in the helm. We're expanding that out so that it's a little bit more versatile, and it is more cognizant of where players want to be and less about like having to return to this one spot and kind of loop through the helm over and over again.
Thank you. Well, thank you guys. Obviously, I'm sure our audience of Guardians who have let Dylan know and his compatriots loud and clear what we're looking for are happy to be hearing that. So that's exciting.
Let me go to the helm. Let me talk to this character. Let me go back to the helm. Let me talk to this character.
Is there a holo projector somewhere in there?
Yeah,
that's right. All right. Well, really exciting. So as we kind of move into that player journey, we're going to be working on something called the Path of Resolve. Can you tell us just a little bit about what that is before we dive into the gameplay here in just a moment?
Yes. So there is an event that happens at the beginning of the episode, which people will see very, very soon after the launch. And this sort of kicks off. I'm going to choose my words very carefully here.
Redacted.
This redacted event sort of kicks off Sloane's motivation for teaching us about the Taken power that she has been holding back. And so that is the path of resolve here. She's going to be teaching us how to fight fire with fire. We're going to be going into the Dreadnought, taking some control of that Taken energy, taking some control of those old Hive magics, and wielding them, using our might, and using our paracausality, wielding that new power.
Y tenemos que aprenderlo.
Very nice. All right, we're going to be obviously keeping Sloan very busy.
Oh yeah.
With that. But speaking of, we actually have our requisite local fire team here in house in the activity as well. Ryan, this is the Nether. This is the new activity that's going to be arriving with Act 1 of episode Heresy. Can you tell us just a little bit about what this is for starters as we go ahead and kind of dive into it?
Yeah, so the Nether is a 3-player activity, and we are back on the Dreadnought's patrol zones.
Vale.
And
Esto dentro del acorazado. Vale, me parece muy bien.
The Taken Hive and Dread Corruption that are taking place and taking hold inside the Dreadnought itself as we go through these spaces. And the Nether itself is a uniquely different type of activity. We're really trying to baseline some inspiration for this activity was looking at Shattered Realm, the Coil, and of course the Dreadnought's patrol spaces. Of course, we are in the Dreadnought.
Yeah.
And yeah, so just for starters, what you're actually doing inside the Dreadnought is baseline. The patrol zones are randomized and varied. The encounters inside are varied and randomized as well. So time over time, when you launch the activity, it's going to be a different starting bubble, different encounters.
Como en modo difícil, porque tiene contador de vida abajo.
And accomplish as you're exploring the Dreadnought itself.
Yeah. What kind of like modifiers would you say players are going to go up against in here? Because surely they're not just going to go into the Dreadnought and get a warm welcome necessarily.
Yes. Yeah, so the Nether has some very unique modifications to it that we're experimenting with. So first off, players do not regenerate health. And to compensate for that, we are doing something special where we're providing players with plus 300 bonus health baseline to their original HP values and plus 75 shield value. So alongside that, we really want to make your health regeneration or your health as like a resource as you're fighting through this, as we are looking at this as a very rogue-lite experience, and we need resources to contend with to make and hit that rogue-lite. Emphasis on light there, of course, because this is still a very uniquely Destiny experience.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of things contributing to that as well. So we do have ammo scarcity as well, so players won't be getting as much ammo, but there will be ways and avenues to get health and ammo drops in the activity, as well as boons that will improve your power over time as you engage with the activity.
Nice. That progressive sort of idea of like power and building up how strong you are as you're moving through the Nether, that roguelite experience. It's also reflective of that narrative of like building yourself up, pushing deeper into the Dreadnought. The Dreadnought is resisting you. It's trying to make sure you can't like move towards the Echo and figure out what's going on. And this is you finding ways to like pierce the veil and move beyond their barrier.
Actividad era grandiosa.
Sí. Esta es muy parecida. Ya hubo una. No me acuerdo cómo era. Sí. Que seleccionaban los modificadores de la partida, por así decirlo.
We have urns and pots kind of placed around everywhere, and these and when you break these destructible pots, they'll explode into like a rain of health, ammo.
Yo, a ver, lo veo bien, pero si traen esto de vuelta, casi yo, a opinión personal, hubiera traído directamente la corte de Ori en vez de esto, pero bueno, eso ya. Sí, es verdad que la corte de Ori ya sí sería. Como gusto sí me gustaría, pero mucha gente se quejaría por ser algo que ya estaba en el 1. Y si algo sobra en Destiny 2 son refritos, por así decirlo, entre comillas, de 1. Vamos a ver. Madre mía, cómo pega ese. Vale, a dormir. Esta es la actividad de temporada, por lo que estoy viendo. Está ahí el cofre ahí abajo.
Martín, te has quedado empantallado, ¿no? Es por algo que te he compartido.
Showing off new secrets, new pathways. So you are in familiar spaces if you've played the Dreadnought before, but there is a lot of new, interesting, unique pathways. Things have changed. Things have become abnormally different.
Oh, yeah. There goes our fire team.
And that's the last we ever saw of that party ever again. As mysteriously as they arrived, they were gone.
And we've kind of like, for players who are wanting that explorative aspect, right? We've kind of like separated out the modes a little bit, so people can go in and they can explore the Dreadnought. But people who are like looking to just bust through the activity and get loot, they have a different matchmaking mode, right?
Absolutely. So the Nether has
¿vale?
currently
Os
3
recuerdo
modes.
que
So
anuncian
there's
como un día de
another
antelación,
exploration
¿vale?
for those solo type experiences.
Atentos a redes
team in as well,
y
if
ya
they'd like
iremos
to.
avisando.
And this is more of like that patrol-esque experience that you're looking for. I want to explore at my own like pace. I want to look for secrets. I want to just engage with the space like it was a patrol space back in the day.
Yeah.
It still is the Nether experience of where you're going from. You're playing through the 3 bubbles and there's escalating difficulty. But we do grant to you in that mode a multitude of revives. So you have a way larger pool of revives, so you can make mistakes.
Sure.
It's just for those players who want to like explore at their own whim, play at their own pace. And then additionally, there's also damage modifiers for those players when they're engaging with bosses as a solo player, so they can actually tackle those hurdles as they come, and also some modifiers on like how many enemies are spawning. So they don't need to,
Es
like,
curioso que no se le está regionando la vida, ¿eh?
enemy
No.
in the world.
You can really take in the skybox for a little while and hang out with your buddies. Yeah.
And then additionally, if you do get lost, because this is, we didn't want to overclutter
Es
the
el
space,
acorazado
there's
completo,
a
¿eh?
lot of things to do, and there's a lot of different things
Sí, lo que pasa, a ver, por zona ahora mismo no,
in the Dreadnought. If you do get lost,
no la reconozco.
pop open your ghost,
Porque es muy.
Pues sí,
es
este
muy
es donde estaba el
Bueno, sí,
portal.
let you know where you should be looking. And where you should be going.
Esto diría que es donde
for the
empieza,
next
que sale un
spot.
tanque
Talking back to
justamente a la
those-
espalda de donde
Eso
está ahora.
está cerca, pero no es esta zona. Es hacia
Sí,
abajo.
sí.
Ahí abajo está lo del
And then
tanque,
we
sí.
do have expert
Y
as
aquí
well.
está, es donde el portal que
So
te
plenty of challenges
permitía
for
ir
you
a
to undertake those,
enfrentarte a
make sure they're
Oris.
pushing not only themselves, but the opportunity to get
Que la
these
primera vez te
spots.
rechaza.
Absolutely. And on that
Y-
loot note as
y te
well,
echa para
Sí, sí, sí.
when you complete
Sé
a
a lo que te
is a
refieres.
chest checkpoint, so you do get loot checkpoints essentially. And like the average runtime for like a bubble is 8 to 12 minutes, but you do get the most loot by completing the entire activity as a whole. But there are checkpoints for players who just want to jump in for like 8 to 12 minutes, hit that loot checkpoint, like, okay, I'm out for now, or players who want to just like rush through it and get all the loot at every single end of every single bubble checkpoint.
Very cool. Okay. All right. And then also, I think, in addition to the modifiers we're talking about, the boon system is one that I heard you mention a little bit earlier. I'd love to actually kick off the conversation about that. I think we maybe saw the folks in chat that were eagle-eyed.
Un fusil de fusión el arma esta. Esta seguramente será el arma de temporada.
But can you tell us a little bit
Excepcional.
about the boon system?
Yeah, so the boons here
Esto
are
para
we
los,
have, we have a
para los
multitude of boons.
profanos
We have minor
ya
boons,
estuvo
major
presente en su
boons,
momento,
and
¿no? El
corrupted
acorazado.
boons.
Lo han vuelto a
Sí,
traer.
lo que es el mapa como tal, sí. Sí es verdad que está diferente, que tiene algunas zonas muy similares, otras que son las mismas. Hombre, si es muy diferente, mejor que no. Yo lo que quiero ver, que no sé si, he dicho antes, no sé si lo pondrán hoy, no creo, es por qué vuelve el acorazado, o cómo accedemos al acorazado, como mapa o como actividad solamente.
Ah, vale. Eso no lo han explicado, ¿no?
No.
Yeah.
En el 1 tú abres tu carta estelar y tienes todos los mapas, la luna, Marte, y te sale el acorazado.
Sí.
Y aquí, si es solamente seleccionando el icono de la actividad, o sea que no puedas ir explorarlo, por así decirlo, en plan planeta, pues eso sí me fastidiaría bastante.
Out of the scene for just a moment, and we are now joined by gameplay feature lead Eric Smith. Eric, how's it going, man?
It's going well. How are you?
So for doing well, thank you. You guys are all so nice today. I'm so taken aback. For anyone that may not have seen you in the Vidocs or anything like that, can you tell us just a little bit about who you are, what you do here at Bungie as a gameplay feature lead?
Yeah, sure thing. So I'm Eric Smith, gameplay feature lead on Destiny 2. So I help create the game's abilities, kind of anything the player can do, the game feel of the game, build crafting, kind of general sandbox stuff, and kind of make the controller disappear into your hands while you're playing.
Yeah, the many tools we use, you're helping go ahead and make sure that they're all available for us.
For the mouse and keyboard as
Yeah,
well.
I'm just sitting there tapping on an empty desk, but that's how my Trials teammates feel. So, we're talking about the boon system. You obviously had a big hand in this as well, rather. Can you tell us a little bit about, what this system is for and maybe about the boons the players are going to have available?
Y la zona esta que tú dices, la que tú dices, Fernand.
Available. There are the minor boons.
Curioso, tío.
And then there's
Sí,
the major boons.
esa
So the
zona es
major
la
boons,
misma.
Are more gameplay affecting. And
Lo
they
bueno
will
es
do
que
things like,
no hay
kinda
tiempo
like we
en
saw
la
in the
actividad,
Pale
me
Heart
refiero
with
que
the,
es cierto que,
Pues
si
sí,
mueres los tres,
pues sí,
tal, pero
perfecto, claro.
kind of gives you a new ability.
una de las cosas que a mí
One of those
que menos
in,
me gusta
in the Pale Heart
es
was
las
solar
actividades
slide, where you,
cronometradas.
run and slide,
Claro.
and the solar wave would go out. and
Depende de
flow.
los escenarios.
In this, we have solar slide as well, but we also have stasis slide, where you run and you slide, and a big stasis wave comes out and makes crystals and freezes things, and you can blow them up yourself. And there's stuff that is going to allow you to heal more effectively.
Difícil, Nico, pero
Reduces damage.
sería algo bastante gordo, la verdad.
It's quite significant.
El Destiny 3, yo soy de los que piensan que sí.
Yeah, so there's a bunch, and then
Opinión,
finally we have
hoy Destiny 2 no hay quien lo salve ya, por así decirlo. Está metiendo que sí. Mucho contenido que está muy bien, que ya lo han dicho, que va a ser gratuito. Oye, es genial. Pero para levantar el hype y la gente que se ha ido y traer gente nueva aparte, lo veo muy difícil. A no ser que un Destiny 1, un remake.
And there's some
Pues
original
mira.
loop stuff too that will allow them to get another one at the start of a bubble or the start of a run through. But these Kiss Curse or
Un
Corrupted
3,
Boons,
pues sí.
as we call them, essentially give you a great bonus or increase to a specific thing at the
Poseídos.
cost of a major negative. So one, for example, here that I'm really fond of is Glass Cannon, which increases all damage
La concurrencia en las
massively,
partidas
while
últimamente.
also increasing all the
Pues
damage.
entre ayer estuve y si había para el tema de matchmaking, así en actividades tipo caso y demás y mazmorra, sí, he encontrado gente, no he tenido problema ninguno.
Yeah, that's true. And that one is interesting. It's an interesting choice that you can make since the kind of like.
De todos modos, también últimamente se premia mucho el control de masas en el juego, ¿sabes?
Because
Sí.
you have non-regenerating health in here, you really have to come at each.
Luego también, como
with that kind of
desde hace ya 2
mindset.
semanas,
So
pues digamos ya siguieron con la
make sure
campaña,
that
pues la gente ya ha vuelto
if I
para
take
terminar la
damage
campaña.
from this enemy or that
Y
enemy, it has the potential
luego
to
también los
stick
fines de
with me.
semana,
I can
ahí siempre suele haber un repunte de jugadores por el tema de modos de competitivo, de las pruebas 2 series. Pues sí, es verdad que más gente se anima
Oh,
a
hey, two of us are
entrar.
going to do that glass cannon. Or
¿Cuánto crees que le queda a la historia de
another
este
person's
lío,
going to
Rafa?
do, oh, hey, every time I do a finisher,
Es que realmente
things are volatile around
la
it, and I
historia,
get to
Martín,
that.
como
So
tal
I
ya
just
acabó.
figured
Estos
those
son
keep
como
you
capítulos
safe
ovas
and
aparte
informed, I think.
que quieren sacar.
It's also good to know that
Entonces,
helps the
pues yo
generation
creo que,
aspect.
si mal no recuerdo, dijeron que capítulo por año. Porque, claro, si son, dijeron 2 DLC por año, pues échale capítulo por año. Ahora, ¿y cuándo dicen ya cuándo dirán de parar de publicar capítulos? Pues eso ya ni idea.
Oh, man, I have to just give a shout out to the
¿Tú
team
crees
on,
que
like,
estos
using the
capítulos
deep,
que
we're going
enseñan
deep
así,
into, hey,
como la
the
historia
Titan
principal ya está
now,
acabada,
feels like we're going deep
resultan
into
menos
space,
atractivos,
and, like,
tío?
the pressure,
Sí.
you can feel it, tentacles taking energy, like,
Sí, ¿no?
they knocked
De
it out of
hecho,
the park with the
cuando
vibe.
dijeron que publicaban estos capítulos gratuitos, pues no, lo dijeron comparándolo, como hemos dicho muchas veces, con el DLC, por ejemplo, de Rey de los Poseídos de Destiny 1, que era muy buen DLC. Claro, en comparación de lo que habían sacado hasta ahora, estaba muy bien. Pero yo no veo que saquen. Además, yo creo más o menos lo confirmaron, que no veo yo ahora que saquen un DLC a la altura de la Reina Bruja, por así decirlo. Que eso es. La Reina Bruja es la mejor con diferencia de los DLCs que han sacado. Tanto lo que hay en cantidad de contenido como en calidad de contenido. Ya dijeron que lo iban así, que iban a sacarlo gratuito y poniendo como comparación pues el DLC de Rey de los Poseídos.
¿Pero cuál fue el último contenido
Es la
digamos,
play.
que cerró la historia?
El de Final Shape.
Ese fue el último. Y
Ese fue el último.
no está a la altura de la Reina Bruja.
Lo pondría un peldaño por debajo de Reina Bruja. Porque ahí sí es verdad que, claro, estábamos con el hype, ¿no? Con la emoción de que ya se acababa la historia, tal y cual. Y sabíamos que el DLC anterior de Eclipse, peor, por así decirlo, porque Eclipse fue como, a raíz de alargar temporada, Eclipse fue como un parche temporal, por así decirlo. Que sí, que visualmente estaba muy bien, pero no tenía ningún sentido la historia. Pues entonces, claro, yo creo que, y mucha gente de la comunidad piensa que en calidad-cantidad, Reina Bruja, después Final Shape. Y luego, por ejemplo, es que el Eclipse yo creo que lo pondrían de lo último, tranquilamente. Eclipse pues, no tiene nada que ver con la historia, fue un copia-pega que sí, trajo la subclase de atadura, que está muy bien, todo muy colorido, muy bonito, pero sin narrativa ninguna.
honestly. That build crafting is kind of transcending now beyond yourself, just to like.
Claro, yo creo que todas estas historias, si antes de llegar al final molan, pero una vez que has llegado a verdaderamente al
Exactamente.
arco principal, no, es difícil enganchar otra vez. ¿no?
Es difícil enganchar y cuando sigue, digamos, repitiendo la misma mecánica durante 7 o 8 años de temporada, es muy difícil.
It's not often we get a primary legendary weapon that can debuff in multiple ways. And that's going to play into things like the artifact this season, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But,
we'll get there.
Esta habrá que craftearla.
Which
Me
is
gusta,
a
fusil
really solid
automático.
weapon. And then let's look at Psychopomp. So Psychopomp is our new area denial grenade launcher.
Such a good name. It's just psycho.
Ya lo hice, Brate. El peor DLC, así fue Brate. El DLC que me la diste y fue el peor, el de 15. Bueno, a ver. Yo diría que el peor fue el de. El de la maldición de Osiris y el estratega. Eso sí es verdad que no había por dónde cogerlo. Tío, ya.
El arma mola, ¿no? Los diseños molan, mola mucho.
Sí, los diseños están muy guapos. Y de hecho tienen, en el otro arma que han puesto antes, que se veía, en el último, de los 4 cuadraditos que vemos, el del hecho, el último toque de los diseños, se llaman recuerdos. Y cada recuerdo que le tengas le da como un look diferente a la arma. Y hay algunos diseños de recuerdos que están muy guapos.
Sí, eso yo cuando jugué ya te digo, jugué un par de semanas. Que no jugué más. Me alucinó, me gustó mucho el diseño, todo artístico. En eso son también muy buenos los tíos.
Actually, Dylan, while I've got you, also,
Lo que pasa es que ya, claro.
Es lo que te dije, Martín, esto es para jugarlo con gente. Como juegues solo, se te quita la gana nada más verlo.
Here's the meme. But yeah, you can notice that for this go of our episodic weapons, you
el
can
peor DLC fue la época que más jugué.
Claro, porque ahí fue cuando ya empezaron los de Bungie, contactas con él para colaborar y tal. Y tenía que hacerlo sí o sí.
You can see that it has a new or a different treatment to the colors. It's kind of like the holofoils from Into the Light. Not so much exactly that of hey, it's an ornament, but like this has the base.
Es lo que te decía Martín, ves que tiene a la derecha que hay como una especie de rombo así a la derecha, a los cuadrados.
Sí.
Ese se lo recuerdo.
Está curioso.
Yo
pensé que esto de aquí de web, no, son los modos de arma.
Sí, mira, te explico. El primer cuadrado es para infundir, para subir el nivel con otra arma que tenga más alta. El segundo pues es modificador, lo que le afecta al arma. Lo que es para la recarga, adquisición de blanco. El tercero es para subir el nivel del arma. El cuarto está vacío y el quinto es el que te digo que es de los recuerdos de que puedes poner.
Eso mola, ¿eh? No me acuerdo bien, ya hace unos años.
Luego son totalmente personalizables, tanto el color que le quieras poner y demás con los shaders que va desbloqueando.
So that's an example. There are going to be a couple at launch and then more coming with each act. But these will be great in Nightfall, so it'll be great in higher
estoy viendo que la que da el arma, la que ahora soy el arma del lore es Long. Curioso.
A ton of feedback, and we absolutely heard you. We're listening about the tonic system. So there are things with like the user experience was a bit rough of having to go back in, create more tonics, trigger them in the middle of activities because they're.
Lo que yo me temo, Fernan, que al decir que es capítulo 1, pero a ver si la semana que viene no lo ponen otro.
So they're going to be making it through the
Yo creo que ese episodio 1, o sea, acto 1, capítulo 1, es el acto 1 de Herejía. Van a ser 2 actos.
Seguro.
Grenade launcher, linear. I really want to be going for that to try to get these heretical versions.
Tiene con daño de atadura.
So effectively, like, I don't want to say more loot because it's not going to be like, oh, hey, you're getting 10 times more. But it's going to feel like, oh, hey, I have a goal of getting this loot, and now I'm going to go and play the game and get what I'm looking for.
Definitely. No, it's super exciting, honestly. Just having those more opportunities to just, break your loadouts out a little bit, find new ways to go ahead and really excel, especially given the challenges we're going to be going up against on the Dreadnought.
And with the fragile mods, like, it's baking into that exploration, like.
Secrets and chests found in the Nether. They're spread out. They're hidden pretty well, but I imagine folks will find them over time or through some YouTube videos.
Rick Cack is here.
We're gonna wait for. We won't miss it this time. Fallout, obviously. If you could make some guides for us, we'd greatly appreciate it. So.
His work.
Venga, un trailer guapo,
obviously,
cinemático,
one of the best
desgraciado.
communities out
Es que es lo que
there.
quiero.
Anything
La
else?
CGI.
I mean,
Ponernos los dientes largos, hombre, con algo.
ultimately, we
Es
want
que
to
soy
have
muy,
tools that
muy de la
players
vieja
want to
escuela
go
con
find
eso, ¿sabes?
corner
Buena
and,
CGI, luego un poco de
increase their
gameplay.
power.
Yeah. So we've got a couple more weapons I definitely want to talk about because we're reprising some as well. But we have a brief reprieve from combat. I'd love to actually go ahead. I know you mentioned earlier aspects, Eric.
Yes.
Vale, la
Let's go ahead
armadura
and take a
sí.
look really quickly.
Es de,
We got our friendly
de
neighborhood
auxilio de
warlock
temporada.
here.
La armadura está
First, can you
chula.
tell us about the new
Yeah.
aspects the Guardians are going to have this time around?
Ojo, que vienen también, van a
the
modificar
Warlock
a
has
su
a new
clase de
aspect,
arco.
Called Ionic Sentry.
Ooh.
In Ionic Sentry, when you defeat targets with kinetic or arc weapons or arc abilities, you kind of charge this thing that you see in a little gauge on your screen, much like Gunpowder Gamble, if
Yeah.
you're familiar with that.
Absolutely.
When that's full, it grants you a bonus grenade that you can then throw out.
Yeah.
On impact, it blinds anything nearby and then spawns this like little arc turret, right? That zaps things, chains to different things.
Yeah.
And every time it zaps something, it accumulates a stack of bolt charge.
Yeah.
So bolt charge is our new arc keyword. And what this does is when you have a stack of bolt charge, any damage you do
Por el
is
mero
going
hecho de que
to,
lleva hechicero me cae bien.
give you additional stacks.
Okay.
Once you hit 10 stacks, your next ability damage is going to create this giant lightning bolt that comes out of nowhere, hits the ground, and just like fries everything nearby, right? What Ionic Sentry can do is not only generate the stacks, but because it is ability damage in itself, it can expend the stacks.
Yeah.
So you send this thing out and it is doing work.
You're throwing a meat grinder at them, basically. Yeah, an arc-flavored meat grinder at anyone foolish enough to cross it. But also, I mean, given that's going to be using the new keyword as well, like it's not just going to be for mobs of trash. It's like you can throw this down against the big bosses and obviously have it blind them and do all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, this is great against bosses because any healthy targets, it's going to be continually zapping them, granting you those stacks, and then discharging the stacks as well.
Yeah. All right.
It's like an offensive version of the Stasis Warlock turret too. So it's like, let's say you stack them and you're going into onslaught, so you have your freeze. It's like, I need these enemies to leave me alone.
Yeah.
And you come in and you're like, it's time to, we're gonna boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew, man. They're gone.
Sure, but it also, if you are in trouble, kind of like the stasis thing, like let's hit the pause button. The blinding aspect of this, I can just kind of throw it out and smoke bomb and hide, right? If I need to, yeah.
All right, so Warlocks obviously have a brand new tool to add to their toolbox, but the other classes do as well. Which one should we show them next?
Let's stick with the arc thing. So let's go to Titan. So Titan, we have Storm's Keep.
Titán.
In this is like a barricade modification. So any barricade you drop, it's going to kind of be electrified. And standing behind this electrified is going to passively accumulate
deja morir
bolt
las
charge on
clases.
you.
Yeah.
So I drop this on the ground. I start shooting enemies from behind my barricade. Let's say it's a rally barricade, or like we.
Yo pensaba que iban a retocar las de estas y más bien que la de arco, pero bueno, también me parece bien.
And that is going to be kind of building those stacks up and discharging them as I'm firing my weapon. Like I said, bolt charge is usually only ability damage that discharges it.
Yeah.
But as long as I'm standing behind Storm's Keep, my weapon damage is going to discharge it as well. So it kind of turns any weapon you want into like a quasi Thunderlord.
Not necessarily an arc weapon then in this case.
Correct. Yeah.
Exciting. Okay.
Yeah. So this one's spicy. I think we're going to see this in a lot of damage phases, and we can play this all we want.
There's a lot of theoreticals we can dive into, right?
Totally. In dev, and then we drop it into the world, and we'll see how we need to tune this thing. Maybe it's up, maybe it's down. But we want it to be powerful, and I think it is powerful.
There's a lot of players saw this preview in the TWID. I think it was last week. They immediately noticed the animation for the Titan was changed, right? So when you went down to put down the barricade, it was like this big thunderclap, like, hey, I'm going to charge everybody up, right?
Yeah, and the animation went through a lot of different kind of versions. We put so much love into all of these abilities because, it's in the game forever, and we want it to be right. So, there were like slams and like raises, and we ended up with the thunderclap, and our animators are godlike. They're absolutely incredible at their jobs.
Yeah.
But then it's animation. It's like the VFX artists have to time everything to the animation, and then the sound design people have to time it to that, and then the test has to make sure we're not breaking anything. It's like we so much work goes into even one aspect like this, and we're really excited to put it in players' hands.
Yeah, it's a coalescence of art and science that you guys do that consistently blows my mind. But now we've got obviously one more for our friendly neighborhood hunters like myself.
Yeah.
As well.
Best for last.
This one
O
will
vacío de
be
cazador.
situations as well. So yeah.
So ArcStrider already has for arc aspects, but they needed one in their void slot. So we gave Night Stalker on the prowl. And shout out to the boy Danny Nanny, who is the designer for this one.
Yeah.
So on the prowl, you kind of become a hit person, right?
Yeah.
And whenever you go invisible, like you get a contract to kill something in the area.
Yeah.
And that thing is marked and a little, a target shows up on them for you and your allies. If you successfully complete that contract and whack that jabroni, right, you...
Sorry, jabroni.
No, excellent use of jabroni. Yeah.
Thank you. So
it's canon now, everyone.
So I whack a jabroni, whack a jabron, and then what happens is my entire team gets some energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of a callback to Heart of the Pack from the old Night Stalker. It originally was actually a callback where we gave you stats, but then because we're working the stats coming up, like we decided to just give you ability energy, right? Yeah. So ability energy, and then the victim, if successfully executed, explodes into a cloud of smoke, which I can then enter to become invisible again, thereby marking a new target. So I can kind of chain these like assassinations as I move throughout a strike or something, and my entire team can be advantaged by.
Oh, nice. So you can bring your fire team through the same cloud of smoke.
Same cloud of smoke. Everyone goes invisible. So yeah, you're kind of sneaking.
Spicy, man.
It's on the prowl. We're prowling through the activity.
You can already see like one of the exotic pairings on the screen too. Those creepy eyes freak me out every time. But Omnioculus, like that's going to benefit the smoke and all that kind of stuff. You could pair with Lorentz Driver. Sorry, Ritz on social media asking for some gameplay today, but we have too much to go through.
Yeah.
But it's like you're embodying that I'm a bounty hunter fantasy. So your gun can be giving you bounties through Lorentz Driver. You're getting bounties through this. There's going to be a lot of combinations in build crafting. Yeah. So you had mentioned too, Gwyzen, right?
Yeah. Gwyzen. I always call it Gwyzen, but Gwyzen Vest got a rework. So when you exit invisibility, it emits a weakening cloud of smoke, and then some super energy perks as well. So
nice.
There's going to be a lot of strong pairings, and then with the artifact, Void features in the artifact pretty heavily too.
You know what? Honestly, you just gave me the best segue I could possibly imagine. We have looked, obviously, we've begun to scratch the surface of some of the new build crafting opportunities y'all are going to have, but obviously we got a new artifact as well this episode. We got the Tablet of Rune, which seems named. Now, just as a starting point, can you let us know the general theme of this one?
Yeah. So the theme of this episode's artifact is
ya sabemos que va a tener 3 actos
and,
este capítulo, Fernan. Ahí lo tiene.
Your will. Essentially, as we are going back into the Dreadnought, it was unlikely that the Dread or the Hive were going to come.
Que básicamente,
so we got to bring the
claro, sale en 2 meses, 3 meses de
force
Yeah, it's not about us winning; it's about them losing.
Yes.
So
the Tablet of Ruin.
Sale en 2 meses, si tarda un mes.
¿El gasto primero no sale ahora?
No. Sale el primer martes de febrero, Martín. Me parece que era.
Yeah, we got to go right to the chase.
We have Void. Which one is it? It's called Void Flux.
El día 4.
Void Flux. So defeating weakened targets with a Void weapon applies volatile to nearby targets, and then you pair that with the column 4 Maligned Harvest, and rapidly applying volatile causes your next instance of Void weapon damage to weaken, which then feeds back into the other one. And it's like if you can get this engine going, in a crowded room, it's nasty.
Me and my fellow Fighting Lion addicts are going to have a really good time. This one I can already tell. The Fighting Lion subreddit, I want to see some clips.
And then I also want to call out Horde Shuttle in here.
Please.
So Horde Shuttle, damaging unraveled targets with a weapon, occasionally spawns a Threadling. This is really good for your strand builds, especially against high health targets. Because I unravel them, they stay unraveled. I keep shooting them, and they're just popping Threadlings out, left and right. And then, because we talked about Arc, Flashover in column 4, when you gain a maximum stat or bolt charge, you also become amplified. Amplified is getting a big kind of buff this episode
Aumenta lo de
to its
la carga eléctrica.
So
Cuando
really,
va
arc in general is
corriendo.
It's hot.
It's
gonna be hot.
feasting, yeah. It's gotta be some spicy art.
Amplificado.
Rock'em
shock,
No me
baby.
salía.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's end too. Dylan, can you walk us through some of the stuff in the first column as well? We're gonna have some new champion rather mods to take out.
Yeah, so I mean, like, there's all these really ability
Campeón, ahí
focused
te veo,
items, which is great, 'cause there are a
el
bunch
de
of,
fusil de
anti-champion
fusión
keywords in there as
arriba,
well.
Yeah.
But let's say like
ametralladora,
we're doing a Nightfall.
¿a cuál le han
You
puesto?
can see actually there's anti-barrier sidearm for the first time in years. Like I think that was around for one of the first Grandmaster rotations, and it was like, what sidearm?
Right. Dust off.
Recarga
Now we have
pistola,
rocket
vale.
sidearms. We have Forerunner, so you can be like popping the shields, throwing the grenades, that kind of stuff. Anti-barrier sniper, that was a favorite from the past. We just did
Sniper
a
para
big rework
también,
on
se
glaives.
recarga.
The team did a crack job on there.
Y barrera
So,
también.
Unstoppable there. And then
Vale.
up at the top you can see
Imparable
machine guns,
aguja.
and then linear fusion rifles, and fusion rifles are getting the
Vale.
unstoppable. And then in fifth
Hostia,
column,
ahí,
you'll see a perk that players
que currárselo.
of particle
It's back.
reconstruction.
I'm so excited.
Linux
I
está
mean,
en el
I just got my
máximo.
hands on the Vex Mythic last finally. Thank you, Malachi.
Vale, los fusiles de
After
fusión
all
otra vez
this
hacer
time,
daño.
honestly, so I have a hunch I'm going to be putting
Vale.
Vex in the main rotation pretty quickly as
You
well.
have Vex yet?
Oh yeah.
Okay, don't rub it. I didn't
What about you?
I don't know if I have a Vex.
I didn't
to
even
be
get it in
honest.
D1, so it was like such a moment for me. It was like a decade of
Well,
waiting, right? Yeah.
I think there's a reason to go back into Vault of Glass. I mean, we can help him get his.
I'm down. I
That's a
played.
good point.
Yeah.
Nunca he dicho
There's
este, de la
crazy,
cámara
like,
de cristal.
some raids I've played 5 times and have like 5 of the raid exotic, right? And others.
Oh,
I've played
you're the guy where
20
you get it
times.
on the first run.
I
mean, that's
usually
me.
am, but not with Vault for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, Matt Noguchi out there, you. Oh.
Feast or famine, right?
Yeah.
So go back to Vault, you were saying.
Vault of Glass. So there are a bunch of folks where, they want crafting back. They want to do something where they have an end goal. And Vault of Glass is a great opportunity for us to say, hey, you've been going through Heresy content. You want to do some raids. You want to do something else. Like,
hablando de la
we're
cámara de
adding
cristal,
weapons
todo loco,
to
bien.
the Strikes, Gambit, Crucible. We have a bunch of new weapons and trials, a new armor set and trials that you've seen in some of these previews.
Yeah.
But Vault of Glass is getting crafting.
Yes.
Predestinador,
Chat goes wild.
Yeah.
You can go get that
pero
Fatebringer,
este es
get it
normal.
a couple times as a deep sight, craft it, and then you can make that roll that you've always wanted.
Yep. Yeah.
As you're going through Vault, let's say you want to go through and craft like 5 of the weapons that are available, then you can
Que pega duro al otro de Perdido en el, la versión de Perdido en el Tiempo, que
a chance to drop with multiple or more perks in those columns.
la venganza
We've
de
been doing this
jefe
for the last
también.
few raids, we'll
Este
craft
sí
one,
es
but
Perdido en el Tiempo,
now it's like,
exactamente.
hey, I want my he's in vengeance. There's a new intrinsic perk. What's the origin trait?
Yes. Yeah.
And then, let's say I'm trying to go for a combination. I could get 3 on this, and then I can enhance it, make it this crazy rocket launcher that's good, and go into.
De Returnal creo que ya sacaron.
Yeah. So we've obviously we've
Games.
got another
Puede
one.
ser
I know I
que
mentioned some
sacaron algo
surprise
de...
ones, but
No,
actually,
de
as
Mass
we're hanging
Effect
out
es
here
de lo
in
que
the menus,
sacaron, perdón.
Eric, I'd actually love to put you on the spot again and talk about just some of the exotics that players are going to be able to go ahead and acquire this episode as well. Let's start wherever you'd like to. Which one would you like to kick it off with?
Let's look at Barrow Dyad.
Barrow Dyad. I was hoping you'd say that.
So Barrow Dyad is a
Un subfusil.
Is that a gun?
Is that actually a gun?
it's hybrid gun for his sort of
Our team does not mess around, man. That's so cool. Yeah.
Locura.
So this thing is a strand submachine gun, and it is also a monster in combat. So this thing, as I deal damage with it, it generates this resource called Blight. And next time I reload, whether it's manual or I just run out of my mag,
Golpeándote diferente.
it's going to convert that
Haga
Blight
como
into
si
these
fuera
strand
un azaro,
seekers
quizás.
that next time I, pull
Que
the trigger,
encadena.
it's going to fire those out, and they're going to bounce between enemies.
Here we go. Yep. So we got some gameplay of this right now, actually.
Yes. So, but you can also see it.
Just juking everything.
The Grim is a paid actor, obviously.
Tonight is snow.
You can also see that this thing auto reloads over time. So this thing, rumor is it's partially sentient.
Yeah.
It has its own wants and
It
needs.
wants to kill.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you satisfy it, it's going to reward you.
Yeah.
So look how fast that ammo comes back. So what you can actually do is play this mini game where you are trying to shoot enemies to build up that blight. and then you can pace yourself to auto reload to build up more blight, and then manually reload to like load all those like seekers into your mag. In addition, it has this perk where dealing damage to 3 different enemies generates in a short period of time. Generates a large amount of blight.
Very nice. Okay, so equal opportunities to go ahead and clear out crowds, but also to just burn down the big bad that might be standing in front of you, or whichever one's foolish enough to do so.
So there are going to be player questions immediately of like, when you're talking about blight and those sorts of keywords, is this a weapon of sorrow?
That's a great question. It is not a weapon of sorrow, but you know, I heard another rumor that this thing is a kind of fossilized precursor to a weapon of sorrow.
Interesting.
But I can't, you know, confirm.
Redacted.
That's, one of our top 3 favorite words, redacted. Okay, so this is the one, and we won't spoil how, but players will be earning this one this season. It'll have, you know, catalysts and other intrinsics to earn as well, I assume?
This thing has a lot of surprises. I don't know where.
We can leave it there.
Let's just leave it there.
I like that. Okay. All right. So obviously, the Barodyad will be one that will be getting added to a lot of loadouts across the entire Sol system. But that's not the only one we're going to be taking a look at today.
Yeah. Let's also look at our new exotic trace rifle Lodestar. So this one will be given to players via the season pass. This is the first primary ammo trace rifle ever.
No sé si lo pone. De rastreo, lo pone arriba, sí.
In Hipfire, this thing behaves like a, you know, the trace
Al final el 10 esto no es de 15 minutos,
But when
se están expandiendo.
Closer to a pulse rifle, actually.
En comparación con anteriores, que era máximo 20 minutos, media hora máximo.
Has this kind of cadence where it's there's like these kind of spaces in between the rounds coming out. But this thing is more steady, you know, EDM.
Yeah, so players are seeing it now.
Yeah, we're womp, 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 womp.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, and it's like, it's nonstop until you run out of ammo, right?
So we got burst sidearms, burst hand cannons, your pulse rifles. Now we got
Lo que pasa es que el arma está excepcional para que realmente la use. Digamos, como algo habitual, tienen que ser muy tochas. Cuando ya estás un tiempo jugando y demás, te acostumbras ya a tener tu set de armas y de ahí no te sacan. Tiene que ser algo muy radical.
Me pasa a mí con otros juegos, ¿sabes? Que tienes 2 o 3 que las vas mejorando.
Puedes tener un catálogo de armas increíble, pero que al final vas siempre con las mismas.
Charge this thing up, auto reload to go into the other fire mode, and then kind of sweep the beam across the board.
En alguna actividad que te lo pida por cualquier motivo, es difícil cambiar de arma.
Este juego fue una espada del principio, me lo pasé entero, no puedo jugar.
They explode into a blinding explosion.
So
it's this loop where I
mejoré todo completamente, pero me costaría más caro demás, seguramente.
Defeat the jolted enemies with the ADS shot, which explodes and damages more enemies, which charges it up, and it's
the loop continues. Honestly,
this thing has, I think, a really high skill.
And this is just this one weapons loop. There's obviously all the different artifact mods. There's all the new aspects. There's the new gear we're gonna have available to us through the Dreadnought. Theory crafters, update your spreadsheets. The time has begun.
You can. There's some big brain combos you can pull off.
Yeah, and I will be counting on stealing all of them. All right. So we also really quickly before we move on, we have some new armor as well with Trials. Dylan, can you briefly tell us a little bit as well about the new updates to Trials and the new armor?
For sure, yeah. So I mean, we'll still have Heresy gameplay on here, but as I was saying, like once you're kind of like, oh hey, I've been playing that for a bit, I want to go play my core rituals like Nightfalls, Crucible, that kind of stuff. If I want the endgame PvP experience, Trials is getting kind of a rework. It's mostly focused around the Lighthouse experience. So the main goal, big shout out to Mercules on the team that's been working on this for a while, and then Test and everybody too. But what is a Trials experience when it's not flawless or bust?
Right.
What is something where, as a lesser skilled player, somebody that just wants to go in and play some like elimination, get in, get some rewards, and then also visit the Lighthouse and see our friend Saint. So ultimately, it's framed more around streaks. So you don't need that flawless 7 games in a row ticket to go up to the Lighthouse. Now it's more, oh hey, I won 2 games in a row.
La armadura sí es de Osiris, que la prueba de Osiris. Lo que es el diseño, porque son diferentes armas. Bueno, es que la pierna es diferente. Y el de este también, el brazalete. Lo que pasa es que lleva lo que es el diseño. El brazalete del 30 aniversario. Y el casco y el pecho y el brazo son de una temporada diferente a las piernas.
You'll be getting these pieces like once a week or a couple times a week through challenges or opening the chest.
Nice.
But we're going to that kind of Osirian, that Egyptian theme again, and these text shaders great. It's one of those pieces where, okay, I'm going to be spending a couple weeks in here to fizzle. Oh my gosh, don't carry me, teach me.
Yeah.
But even
just
if
don't go up against me while you're out there. If you could do me a solid, that'd be great.
even if you're not high skill, it's like you can earn these armor pieces. The cool cosmetic bit is like, oh, hey, as a high skill player, I still want that representation of what Flawless used to encapsulate.
So
if you hit a 5, a 6, a 7 win streak and go open that chest, you're unlocking different glows. You're getting different cosmetics like ships, ghosts, the sparrow.
Or a farming time.
Right?
That's right.
And then afterwards, how long of a streak can you go on? We're going to have a new emblem tracker where it's like, oh man, I went on a 25 win streak in Trials. I'm kind of hot right now. And then
Said Andy never.
Andy saying, hey, Dylan, you want to play Discord? And I'm like, sorry, I'm a bit too busy.
It's all right. We get it. You're a big deal. But
I'm not a big
thank
deal.
you, honestly, in the interest of being busy. Thank you and yours, obviously, putting together that article. If anyone wants to see all of that in painstaking detail, it took a village. So, Dylan, to you and the PvP Strike team and everyone, thank you a ton for getting all that information together. I know we have one more topic to move on to, but I'm realizing in my notes I didn't quite get to speak to the reprised weapons. Let's call out a couple before we move on. There's one in particular I'm actually pretty excited about. It's the return of probably one of my favorite pulse rifles. I've been watching a lot of TikTok. Our friend Epic Defender out there is running Fighting Lion and, Cold Denial. So I've gone ahead and personally dusted off my Cold Denial, which is now also making a return. So if you don't still have it from Season of Arrivals, now's your chance. Dylan, we were talking about this a little bit earlier. What's your favorite role for this one?
Well, so back in the day, I always made sure to have Head Seeker, and it was kind of a niche perk back then. It was like, oh, hey, it helps with one-on-ones a bit.
Right.
But it has been buffed over time. It's been a while since Season of Arrivals. So I'm going to be going for Head Seeker again on this baby. And like, one of the cool things is that all of the reprisals are going to be dropping day 1 of Act 1.
Cool.
So you can go and get this. There were a few others that were mentioned, or I believe you're about to mention.
Another one. Yes, that's right. I can talk about, or wait, my favorite role or the next weapon?
I don't care about your favorite role.
Okay.
Sí, estaba.
No, that's fine. You know what? Message received. I'll leave that for my
What is your
inventory.
favorite
Ya estaba de antes, que la han traído de vuelta y demás.
All right, it's very close. It's Zen Moment Head Seeker, but
Okay. No, that's good.
It's just a 2-burst machine. But another one I want to call out, one that's so well beloved by the community that a member or a content creator in our community named themselves after it. Whispering Slab Enjoyer. Whispering Slab is now also getting reprised as well. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities for y'all to go ahead and add this one back into your inventory. Is there going to be any new roles added for this one as well, Dylan? Anything exciting?
Yeah, I mean, all of the weapon roles, they're going to be a bit revamped. There will be some heavy hitters from the past, but also new perks have been introduced over time.
Son armas que han traído de nueva.
The seasonal weapons too. I believe
El arco lo
Morgan
mismo.
Dickens, like, working with her to see what are all the different roles, what can we call it on the stream.
Yeah.
She put a lot of love into those. Big shout out to the rest of the team as well. Like, I wish I could name every single person, but as you said, it takes a village, it takes a city to build a game.
Absolutely.
So big love for everybody.
Yeah, we're just the ones sitting up here today. There's obviously a ton of incredible peers of ours here at Bungie that are behind the scenes building all of this.
El arco este mola, ¿no?
To our teammates and compatriots
Sí.
at Bungie, we couldn't do it without you. Thank you so much.
Ahí lo que pasa, Martín, si te fijas, arriba en el icono del arco, ves que tiene como un dibujito en blanco, pequeñito. Ese, digamos, esos símbolos son, digamos, el símbolo de cada temporada, por así decirlo. Para saber cuando te dicen, pues es de esta temporada y de la otra. Y este ya estaba antes y lo hacen mucho. Armas que han dejado de poner, pues las vuelven a reponer, pero ya con el icono de la temporada.
Eric, any one last one that you want to call out?
I mean,
Porque no
that
es disponible
Whispering Slab is
últimamente,
just so
¿no?
sexy, man.
Isn't it?
Like,
honestly,
just
what a
like
distinctive bow. Like, how do you?
It is. It's just
No,
like a
no he
big
usado el
flat
arco en
thing
Destiny.
with a
Mola,
strike.
luego que mola.
Sí.
I don't know.
You know it means.
Hay uno, sobre todo, el que se llama Termina Deseo, que es excepcional. Que ese Termina Deseo.
Depends whether or not.
Que ese todo el mundo tiene. Creo que todo aquel que juegue ya Destiny en plan diga, quiero darle serio, tiene que tenerlo sí o sí sacarlo.
¿Y ese la munición cómo va? ¿También se agota o no? Sí.
¿El qué, Martín? ¿Perdona?
La munición se agota o
No, antes sí, pero ya pusieron que las armas, digamos, son cinéticas, especiales, ¿no? En el orden, o pesadas.
Sí.
Ya lo que son cinéticas, que son balas blancas, para entendernos, son infinitas.
O sea que el arco este sería uno de esos. Pues
Exactamente.
también el daño será menor, me imagino, ¿no?
Exactamente.
With our last dungeon,
Vale,
we had
vale.
podium
Así-
Ya han dicho Fernán que la semana que viene hay otro evento, parece ser.
for second, third.
Viene
This
bien
time we're going
que
back
yo,
to that
que no tengo ni
format
idea,
of a
pregunte
singular
estas
fire
cosas
team
tan
will
básicas
be
Claro,
para los
claro.
que no
They
tienen
will
ni
be
idea.
that first.
Si yo, vamos
The really
informando a
cool
los
thing
que,
about this as
como
well
yo,
is we're
estamos
kind of mixing
perdidos
up
en
what
el
is
estilo
the
2.
stake, what is the reward.
Yeah.
Pero luego, por ejemplo,
Last dungeon
este
we
que te
did
digo, el
with
termina
podium
deseo, al ser
optimization.
excepcional, que es
This time
amarillo,
around we're doing a trophy.
hace mucho más daño que
It's
los
gonna be
otros. Y luego es que es
not a
un arma
slow
muy
trophy,
cheto.
it's
Y
not-
mira que lleva ya
not
años
the
ese
biggest,
arma
say,
y sigue siendo
the
cheto.
rate
Y esa
time
arma
bets that you get, but it's
es,
gonna be
vamos,
something very
perdura.
special, customized,
Punta
like
explosiva o
unique
algo,
to
¿no?
this
Supongo que
experience.
sí, ¿no?
Big shout
Hace
out
que
to
cuando
Joe,
apunta,
to the
¿no? Y
Rated
está
Dungeon
manteniendo
team.
el
And then
L2,
also,
ve al enemigo a través de la pared.
Sorry, Henshin Scrap.
Hostia,
We're
qué
going to be
guay,
partnering
tío.
with them to create this
Vale,
trophy,
vale,
and we'll
vale.
have a picture of it in a TWID next week. or
Pues Joaquín, supongo que será el martes que viene.
Yeah, it's going to be something that represents this dungeon.
Aún así, ahora lo dirán o lo que sea, no te preocupes.
And also, our friends on the Good Super Products team have been hard at work making sure that all of us that dive in, because I've never done a contest mode in my life, I'm not brave.
Mira, la
enough.
chaqueta.
There is some stuff to go ahead for the Guardians to go ahead and earn as well. Dylan, can you tell us a little bit about
La
what we're
chaqueta que te cuesta la chaqueta una vez que la desbloquees para poder comprarla, para que te cueste 90 euros, no te tienes que ir muy
I
lejos.
love this note sheet, man. Work shirt. So
Work shirt.
It has a hood, but it's not the hoodies of old. This is
Yeah.
going to be a new thing. A work shirt that you can earn. The wristband was a pretty big winner for players. They enjoyed earning that last
Yeah,
go, so
definitely.
we have that again. And then we also have our Bungie rewards, the title pin. So go in, do all of the challenges, the triumphs. I believe solo as well, which I applaud everybody that does solo dungeons because it's just insane to me.
Yeah.
But you can earn these this pin to represent how hardcore you are.
Yeah.
And then we have just general pins and rewards that you can get as well.
Very cool. So
and this
mortals
is
like
out-
I can go ahead and get my hands on something as well, right?
True.
It's like,
And then these are outside of like contest mode. So contest mode, you get that unique.
Vale, esta es la
game
chaqueta
with
que
normal
desbloqueas
mode,
cuando
you can
completes la
unlock those
mazmorra nueva.
rewards, weapons, etc.
Certainly.
But then some
Esto es lo que hace Martín, tú,
as
por
well.
ejemplo, tú la chaqueta te la puedes comprar cuando
To get
salga, ¿no?
into the,
Pero te ponen un
the
precio
contest mode,
desorbitado.
$19.99.
Como digo desorbitado,
$999.
por ejemplo,
Outside of that, it's
$9.99. Pero una vez que completas la mazmorra,
finishes first,
como tú
then
tienes tu
we'll
cuenta
open up
vinculada a la tienda de Bungie, aplicas
anyway,
tu código
contest will
porque
be
ya la has
available for
completado
48 hours
First
regarding
y ya te sale a esos 90 euros más o menos.
Join in with the community and have a
Ah,
watching
vale, vale,
experience.
vale.
We have the Dungeon Zone hosted by
Pero o sea que es la
Stevie
chaqueta
Gray
de verdad,
and
o sea,
Evan
la chaqueta de verdad, que mola, por
Yeah,
cierto.
Claro, claro, claro.
thank you to them because this is going to be
Claro, claro, no es
community-driven
un
kind of
un
like-
traje.
No es ninguna skin ni nada, no, es una chaqueta para que tú te la mandan a tu
Sí,
casa.
no, es que se veía,
Hopping
pues se veía
through that,
guapa,
we'll
qué
have
pena,
some
no,
pre-show
Sí.
stuff that's really fun to watch. We also have Twitch
90
drops, we'll
euros,
have
nada,
unique
normal,
links
si es una
to
buena
earn
chaqueta es
that.
un precio muy...
Sí, sí.
Yeah, tons of folks
Tú te metes en la historia que tienen desde unas botas guapitas, tienen de todo. Sudaderas, camisetas, de todo.
Martín.
Yeah, so we have a
No,
previous twid.
no,
We're
no,
gonna have
no,
another twid
no,
just
no,
before the
no.
7th to walk through this again.
Ah, sí, sí.
That's
¿Qué te parece?
all that's on help.bungie.net.
Excellent. Very cool. All right. Excited. Can't wait to tune in. CB Gray, FNF. Can't wait to go ahead and see what you got in store for us. But now we
Nos
have
comen,
one more item
pero
to
nos
speak
van a
about.
comer,
As has
estoy
become
seguro.
tradition in these streams, we've got
Ha sido un
one
palo.
more
A ver, un
thing
segundillo.
to show you. Now
Una cosa más que
it's time to take
enseñarnos.
a first look at
Sí.
the newest collaboration that's going to be coming to Destiny 2.
Nueva colaboración de
It's
Destiny.
joining us from a galaxy far, far away.
Vamos a ver.
Chat,
Star Wars.
and you, I'm
¡Oh!
sure,
¡Coño!
¡Las madre de
It's
Dios!
inspired by a
Hostia,
universe
esto sí que es
that's
buena
loved by so
noticia,
many
¿eh?
of us here at the studio.
¡Oh!
Star Wars. Now, today
¡Qué
we're going to be taking a
bestia!
look at the new Star Wars-inspired armor sets that are going to be joining Destiny.
Se va a petar, se va a
and I say
petar
that
el
in a time
juego,
quite
ya te digo
present.
nada. Lo voy a poner ahora
First up,
mismo.
we've got the Covert Ranger set for hunters. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at that one. This one
Qué
is
guapo.
inspired by none other than the Elite Death Troopers. Oh my god, I can't wait.
Se la acaban de sacar.
Seriously.
Never gonna
Totalmente,
get to
¿eh?
use Super Black again. Are you kidding me?
Don't tempt us, we'll find a way.
Hostia,
Yes,
el
this
puto
one,
Brata que tiene
as
plata
of
ahí
the
para
others you're
comprar,
gonna
que
see
eso
on
se
the
compra
field
el
arriving
imperio
on day
entero.
one,
El
Heresy.
cabrón.
¡Qué locura!
Up next, Warlocks. We're not
Es un
discussing them as
pelotazo,
well.
¿eh?
Mira, mira, mira.
We got
¡Guau!
a
La que
set for you guys,
guapo.
and this time it's inspired by the Imperial Royal Guards. If
Bien
you've ever
hecho,
found
bien
yourself
hecho,
in the throne
Bungie.
room in the Star Wars
O
universe,
Sony,
you've probably been
lo que sea.
intimidated by these guys.
El que
Now
lo haya
you can
hecho.
Go ahead and do the same.
El que lo haya hecho, es un bombazo.
Files or anything like that. This one is.
¡Hala, qué guapo!
And then last but very not least, we've got the Shock Enforcer set for Titans.
Está guapísimo, tío.
Yeah, and this one actually I heard comes with a.
Esto sí que no se lo esperaba nadie, pero nadie.
Nadie, tío.
Me acaba de quedar flipado. Pues oye, mola.
We'll check on that intrinsic for
¡Hola, qué guapo!
Siempre lo dije. Yo para
Bueno, y que no te extrañe, Martín, que ponga alguna nave o algo. Acuérdate, el de un destructor o algo. Acuérdate lo que te digo.
Pues eso deberían, porque así como en películas nunca han sido mis películas favoritas de televisión ni de coña. En videojuegos sí, tío, tienen un
el espectro, el destructor. El espectro que va contigo es el destructor.
Vale. Ah, claro. Eso mola, el detalle, Mola mucho,
So good, man.
Sí, a mí la nave, una nave ya así, en plan.
Pues no tiene una especie de moto muy parecida a la de
Sí, es claro, pues seguro el colibrí. El colibrí seguro que lo ponen también.
Yo como ese jugué.
Seguro. Y también tiene movimiento, han dicho, movimientos, emoticones que hace y los remates que puede hacer.
To give huge thanks to our friends here at Bungie that helped put this together, Kelly out on the marketing team, and then our friends over at Lucasfilm Games. It's been incredible to go ahead and work with you side by side to put this together. And of course, to make sure you're all in the know, and we give you a heads up of exactly where this is going to be, it will not be at Tashi Station with the power converters. These will be available on Eververse when Heresy launches on day one. So just want to make sure you're all aware of that. And also, I got to say, I, for one, am going to be keeping a close eye on the R Destiny fashion subreddit because I can't wait to see what they got.
Qué guapo,
They're going to have
tío.
this. They're going to have new trials armor, new seasonal or episodic armor.
Yeah.
They're going to have tons of new Eververse options, but tons of new options you earn in the game. Put it all together, make something dope.
Yeah. Awesome, very exciting. Well, I think, honestly, we've had a huge docket of things to go ahead and go on through, but now we can all collectively exhale and leave a little bit more for the Guardians at home to discover when Heresy launches next week. But that concludes it for our show today. So first things first, obviously, Guardians, to all of you out there, even to the individual spamming my face as an emote in chat, thank you all so much for joining us today. These shows are a ton of fun for us to get to
La semana que viene más,
share what we've been working on with all of you. But it doesn't matter
Crucero estelar, claro, alguna peleita, bueno, aquí no hay peleas de naves.
No, pero como te ponen los gestos, con la cruceta o el remate que seguro que ostras, que te han dicho.
Claro, a ver, vehículos pueden hacer alguno de tierra.
Sí, el colibrí, sí. Hay desde colibrí a tabla, digamos, en plan como si fuera Regreso al Futuro, vas con tablas por el aire volando.
Sí, eso lo vi. Eso lo vi. Pero bueno, a ver.
Again, you have the challenge of dealing with me, so thank you all so much for your hard work. We seriously appreciate it. As a quick reminder to close things up, Heresy Act 1 launches just next week on February 4th.
Vale, que ya el capítulo empieza la semana que viene, Martín. El primer capítulo. El martes.
So you can check out the Nether, all of the new gear.
El martes a las 7.
Be able to have available to you. Start checking out how to get your hands on those exotics and building them all up. Our collaboration with Lucasfilm Games, Star Wars is pretty exciting, and of course the Sundered Doctrine Dungeon Race will be there as well. But that's right, so now we're going to go ahead and get ready to close things out. But before we do, we're going to leave the stream live for just a little bit longer, so if you need to go ahead and wrap up that Twitch drop, you can do so. And go ahead and do us a favor and stick around, because once we finish up here, we're going to raid our good friend Macdix. So while I appreciate the bits and cheers and everything here in chat, save your Twitch Prime sub, save everything you can, go over to him, give him a follow, donate to the Game to Give stuff, pardon me, if you can, to help us do some good to the Bungie Foundation.
Están hablando ahora de esta semana, Martín, que han empezado el Game to Give, que se llaman, que hacen, digamos, directos los creadores de contenido benéficos.
Interesante eso.
Ya han acabado. Y este Game to Give supongo que irá para lo de California. Otro año ha sido para ONG y tal, cuando no ha habido ninguna catástrofe y tal.
Sí, bueno, es verdad que yo no sé cómo quedó, están apagados todos los incendios, ¿no? Digo todo así, ¿no? Porque aquí hubo una borrasca terrible. Ayer granizó, que vamos, veías, la piscina era un espectáculo. ¿Sabes? Cayó una granizada bestial, los truenos estaban a 1 kilómetro así de mi vivienda, y claro, más o menos, ¿no? Por el ruido, ya sabéis cómo se calcula eso. Y era un estruendo, bueno, unos vientos, llegó a 180 kilómetros por hora en alguna zona, en Galicia, Y no sé cómo están con el tema de los incendios, me imagino que estarán apagadísimos, ya digo yo, espero
Pues
que
claro.
sí, en California y todo por allí. Pero menudo,
Me ha encantado.
una catástrofe, ¿eh?
Bueno, dentro de una semana nos volvemos a ver
Un
aquí,
evento.
¿no? Más o menos.
No,
para-
pues yo creo que no, igual no hacen nada, Fernán. Porque si ya han dicho que empieza el capítulo la semana que viene,
El día 4.
por eso.
Que yo entienda, estos skins de Star Wars o esta
Sí.
colaboración así con Star Wars, ¿qué es dentro de la propia campaña esta nueva o es en general no? Para
Pero eso lo van a poner, tú entras y tú tienes tu tienda, por así decirlo, al juego. Y entonces esto lo van a poner de pago, lógicamente, y tú puedes, si quieres lo compras, y si no, es opcional. Eso no afecta nada es un skin, por así decirlo.
Bueno, pues está bien. Seguro que la gente lo va a disfrutar y va a pagar ahí.
Yo ya te digo, cuando lo he visto, es que vamos, qué cosa más guapa. De hecho,
un aumento de jugadores,
sí, seguro. De hecho, ya te puedo decir que, mira, voy a poner aquí la imagen. Compartir ventana, esta de aquí. Aquí está la imagen para. Vale, esta es la imagen. El del medio, el del Stormtrooper, es el titán. El de la derecha es el cazador. Y el de la derecha es el hechicero. Y el de la izquierda es el cazador.
Muy guapo,
así, más o menos. Ahí. Qué guapo, tío.
Sí, va, eso. Le falta, no sé cuántas colaboraciones tiene con
Alto sable láser.
Tiene,
Sí,
pues,
no creo.
mira,
Es
así
que
te
es
puedo
una duda.
decir. Mira, tienen ya colaboraciones, tienen con PlayStation directamente, que sacaron skins variadas de Last of Us, de Horizon Zero Dawn. Tienen también colaboraciones con. También tenían con Kratos, también estaba. Colaboraciones con Mass Effect. Tienen. ¿Con quién más tenía? Con Mass Effect, ¿con cuál más? Tenían colaboraciones. Así que recuerde. Pues ahora mismo Mass Effect, los de
No sé,
Sony.
es raro que no hayan tocado Killzone ningún. Solo Helldivers se les va adelante.
Helldivers, sí. Pues que no te extrañe que antes. Que no te extrañe.
Es que además también tienen vehículos guapos esa saga, con mechas, tienes tanques, tienes vehículos tipo motos deslizadoras.
Las deslizadoras, por ejemplo, sí. No sería ningún.
No, y luego todo
nada raro, la verdad.
Todo el look está perfecto para cualquier juego de ciencia ficción, tío. Bueno, nada, muy bien. Yo no me he enterado mucho, gracias a ti sí, un poquito, pero.
Bueno, chicos,
pero bueno.
vamos a ir terminando.
Vámonos, que a las 9
50
tenemos.
minutos vuelvo. En 50 minutos vuelvo.
Volvemos. Muy interesante hoy. No sé si ya pusiste algo ahí para anunciarlo.
Ahora lo pondré yo.
No, es que no estoy. Es que no me da la vida. Si es que
Ahora
por aquí ha
pongo
pasado
yo
un fantasma, han pasado los críos. Bueno.
Así que nada más, chicos, lo dicho. A ver si puedo estar para esta noche, ¿vale?
Muy bien.
Nos vemos, chicos.
Hablamos. Dale aquí, ¿le das tú, Fernando?